What's up, nerds? Welcome to NGR Radio's B-Sides. This is our Thursday show we do on YouTube at noon on our YouTube page. Nerds Gone Rogue, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Moose and Matt are with me, as always, and we're going to talk about... So, by the time this posts, the Nintendo Direct, that happened, will be about a week old, and some people were disappointed, some people were excited, and some people were on drastic both ends of the spectrum on both sides. But we have a topic this week. Is the Switch being bogged down too much by ports? And, some people say no because they didn't own a Wii U, and that's fine. Some people say yes, and they're still going to double dip. I have mixed feelings on this as well, but, as... Moose, you didn't own a Wii U, correct? And then Matt, you had one, but didn't, whatever.
I casually.
It was your Mario Maker. It was your Mario Maker.
I played enough of that. I played enough of that first party library. I played Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 1, but I basically played it. I played each game to completion and bounced. I only have maybe 2 regrets that I really didn't dig as much in. Or actually, no, 3 regrets that I didn't dig as much into as I probably should have, and that's Pikmin 3. I played it and finished it, but I feel like I could have done more in that game. Wonderful 101, played it, did not finish it, but I thought it was good.
That was a platinum game.
Yeah, and Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I played that. I played about 15 hours of that, and it was one of those things that I know this is an iceberg I'm not going to get to the bottom of. I don't have the time for it. And I thought that was a cool game. I thought it was a cool idea. Mm-hmm. I think it was just in the wrong place, which sucks.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a way that goes to a different place. I don't think Shin Megami Tensei goes anywhere else, right?
I mean, I personally as cool of a concept as that is, it's the same thing for me. Everybody wants Persona on Switch now. For me, that's a game that I think, if we're talking about ports, probably deserves one. But at the same time, we got to get out of this port hole, man. Mm-hmm. I really feel like the to port anything over, it's that first year, and
we're technically still in the. First year.
I think that's the problem
on the end of the first year, but we've already got standout titles that aren't ports, and yeah. I just, I think the Switch is the library is growing faster than anybody realized it was.
Mm-hmm.
And, this direct...
Well, it's also growing more interesting, too.
Right. Yeah, and the indies are dominating the platform. Third parties are being creative, and Mario and Rabbids specifically, stands out. So, I don't know, man. I feel like we're in the same, Nintendo hole that sometimes we get in, and it's everybody wants everything on the newest console, and, the port
But they don't understand the reality of it.
Yeah. Look, Donkey Kong, for example, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, great game, amazing game.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to have it on the Switch, but that game is less than 3 or 4 years old at this point, and it's $17 on Wii U if you own one. And they expect us to pay $60 for the port, and a lot of people are going to. It's a fantastic game. Don't get me wrong, but man, I feel ports are just coming really fast.
Well, the Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is a different situation. I'm not saying it's the same caliber of game, but that is a Last of Us situation where everybody was switching platforms after the Xbox 360 generation, that a lot didn't play Last of Us. So
as are a lot of the games though too.
Right, but let me tell you this: everybody that's adopting the Switch, I think there's. I mean, it's already been called the fastest console in U.S. history.
Fastest selling console.
Fastest selling console in U.S. history. And I don't know if that's just Nintendo. I don't know if it's overall. But
no, it's overall.
Is it overall? Okay, we'll see.
That's what the reports I've been seeing will say.
All that statistic alone equals, hey, the U.S. ignored the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like there was nobody cared because it was not. It was. I mean, I like the Wii U. I really did. I do not regret. I do not regret buying it. But I feel like the Wii U was a tech demo for the Switch that they eventually got right. They probably could have held out a couple of years and developed this instead of a Wii U and another 3DS. Mm-hmm. But there's money to be made from the people who ignored the Wii U but are all in for the Switch. So yeah, they didn't play Tropical Freeze. They probably heard from IGN or Giant Bomb or GameSpot or
friends
or people who had Wii U's like me saying, "Hey, this is a good game. You should play it." Like, I don't want to buy a Wii U to play it. I don't really have an argument for you other than this is a great game. So I think the Tropical Freeze is like the one sort of outlier in the announcements from today's Direct. We're not going to really break it down here. We're going to leave that to Corey.
Yeah, we already did a huge breakdown on PAL Block twice. So
well, you guys lost your lunch, didn't you?
Oh. I mean, dude, we woke up and they messaged me and I woke up. I was barely even awake. I chugged an energy drink before we started, and that's why it was like crazy at the beginning of the reacts video. But like I said, we already did it twice. We did it on Nintendo PAL Block, the podcast, and then we did it as a reacts video early Thursday morning. So like, you know, there's a lot of hype behind it just because, you know, it's a Nintendo Direct and there's reason to be excited about it. But, you know, as I've gone over this list 3, 4, 5 times already, like,
shine's already wearing off.
Yeah, I mean, look, the most exciting thing for me, like, and I'm sure both of you, is Dark Souls Remastered. And like,
yeah,
I'm sure you guys are getting it on PS4. And if we're gonna do that Dark Souls series that we were talking about in the chat, like, I probably will get it there also, so we can just play together, you know. So I mean, you look at this list. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the items are either ports or DLC for ports. Mm-hmm. So, and only 15 things were announced today. 14 things.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Let's get back to your question, because
yeah.
I feel like we really haven't tackled that. Moose.
Mm-hmm.
Always question: do you think the Switch is getting bogged down by ports?
I think a lot of developers are testing the waters with Nintendo with ports. I think it's kind of easier to port a game than it is to try and develop a new game. Granted, you know, Donkey Kong is Nintendo's game, but you know, like, I just bought Super Meat Boy today because I love Super Meat Boy, and to have it on my Switch and then be able to switch between that, Golf Story, Breath of the Wild, or Earth Atlantis is awesome, you know. And then also it added a 2-player race mode, which is freaking cool. So me and my coworker could play that instead of always playing Mario Kart.
Guess what we're doing when you come in February, son?
So I see the concern, but I'd say, I mean, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One had the same issue for a while. They both had that same issue for a while, where it was like, oh, it's nothing but ports, it's nothing but ports. But it's like the system just came out, you know, so there's going to be ports.
They're still saying it. They're still saying, like, really another port, like Shadow of the Colossus. Right. Do we really? I mean, we probably don't.
Probably don't need that, but I'd like it because I never played it. So,
yeah.
Anyways, on this, I agree. I can see both sides of the coin, but I don't think it's as big of a problem as people think it is. I still think people are gonna like you look at a lot of cool games out there, and a lot of them are tacking the Switch on, like to getting their game because. And I was reading an article. I can't remember who wrote it, and I think Captain Canada mentioned it to us in our chat. But people are putting their games out on the Switch because there's not a lot of games there, so that's where they're going to make their money. Yeah. So, like, I think Super Meat Boy Forever might be hitting the Switch first before it comes to PS4. But that's because there's not a lot of games there. So they'll make a good bit of change. Even whatchamacallit, Housemarque, who does Nex Machina, did Nex Machina on the PS4, was just like, the reason we released it on PC was because there's so many games on the PS4. It's flooded with games, that we needed to put it somewhere else to be able to make some money back on this. So I think the ports is testing the water. I think ports is also trying to make a little bit of money to help maybe develop something else or, see what the reaction is to that developer putting a game on that system. Like, I mean, Super Meat, or Team Meat, they're obviously putting Super Meat Boy Forever on there, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait to get that. That'll be a day one purchase. But, to have a game like that on the go and, 2-player and all that, I think, I just don't think ports are a problem. But I will tell you, like, in looking at the store, like the Nintendo store, there are a lot of ports. My problem is my thing with it is you have to dig deep to find like the original stuff. Mm-hmm. So I wish like I know it would really like make it stick out like a sore thumb, but I wish in the store they'd be like port section and just put all the games, like you can find them under action, you can find them under whatever, or just make like new games. You know what I mean? Like not, not somewhere else, or
games releases or something like that,
or a game that launches on Switch that launches on the other consoles at the same time.
They should have the same criteria to describe games as we use for 20 questions.
Right.
End of story.
Right.
So it all makes total sense.
Right. So you can go in there and be like new, and I mean, granted, Super Meat Boy is new to the system, but it's not a new game. It's a port, so it kind of eliminates it. So you just, you're like, okay, well, I'll find that under, action or platforming, or you can even find it in the port section. But it would be cool for me if I, as a new person to the Switch and even the Nintendo library, since the last legit Nintendo system I owned was the GameCube. So for me to be able to go in and find like new stuff that even Nintendo does, like that would be cool. Like just to go under and say, oh, hey, this is cool. I'll buy this, you know what I mean? And check it out. Like I even saw there was a, what is it, Mighty Gunvolt or whatever. It's like
Mighty Gunvolt Burst.
Yeah, like I want to pick that up. That looks pretty cool. So I'm looking at picking that up on the next sale, just because it's basically Mighty Number 9 done right.
It's on sale now for $6.99.
It's funny because you can actually play Beck. You can play as Beck from Mighty Number 9 in that game.
Nice. I thought you meant Beck the artist. I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. I'd love to play a game as Beck the musician. I'm buying it
on
right
there.
now.
His intro music is boom boom wow wow.
Yeah. But so I think that would help, like unmuddy the water. You know what I mean? A little bit if they had a cleaner store. But then again, PS4 could use a way freaking cleaner store as well. So it's not just Nintendo. But anyways, that's my take on it. I think it has its pluses and minuses. If we're going like 3 years in and they're doing like, oh, hey, here's a port of Bastion. 3 years in. Now, granted, I'm going to buy it because I love Supergiant.
Yeah, Supergiant.
But, it's like, okay, well, release Pyre on it, port something else and just be like, okay, this is what we can get on the system, or just have their next new game be on there. Because, I mean, I'm sure like they'd want to test the waters too. They'd want to port something, then test the waters, and they can do it with Transistor or Pyre, and go from there. But anyways.
Yeah. I just, as somebody who brought up this question, I have pre-ordered half of these games already. So
the hypocrisy runs deep within you. No.
I really just did it as a discussion point. I don't want the internet to yell at me.
No. Well, see, the thing is, like, we also have to examine the precarious position that Nintendo finds itself in.
Yeah, which is like nobody bought the Wii U, so what do you do with all these great games?
Yeah, nobody cared about the Wii U. Everyone, like, literally, I remember when the Wii U was announced and they talked about it in minute detail. I went to I got off my shift at Pepsi that day. I went to GameStop to just see what was like in the pre-owned rack, because that was the kind of life I was living. And I said, "What do you think about this Wii U?" And the dude was like, "I'm not even a little bit excited." And I'm like, "Why is that?" And they're like, "Well, the Wii sucked." I'm like, "Did you own a Wii?" And he's like, "Yes." I go, "All right, now what sucked about the Wii then?" And really, it becomes a question of, well, I can't play the newest, latest, HSDest of games on the Wii. And I'm like, all right, so you're basically pissed off that you can't play a game you can get in 3 to 4 other places on this place. You want to play Assassin's Creed 2 with the nunchuck. That's a bad. I hate Assassin's Creed 2, and that's going to be an even more bad time. But,
I don't know, they could have made a sweet peripheral for the motion control on your wrist. You just strap the Wii remote to your wrist, and you're like, "Ha! Stabbed." Yeah. I know you're thinking about it now.
I mean, I hate you, but I kind of respect you for going there.
Oh, you know, I didn't like say I was going to buy one. I'm saying that's what Nintendo's or some third-party marketing team would have thought and been like,
right.
Assassin's Creed on Wii. What can you motion?
But like the Wii U had a genuinely great library that was just overlooked. So I expect a ton of Wii U ports. Maybe not everything, but I expect a lot of it. I think the one thing that needs to slow down, despite me being very happy I can soon play Dark Souls on the go, which I'm going to have some tense bus rides. But I think the porting of older generation if end. Like if we start
the one you want.
I mean, even that, I feel like I'm excited to play it, but I'll be the first person to admit the fact that I'm going to be able to play Dark Souls on a Nintendo console feels really out of place.
It's true.
I mean, it really does.
I mean, I would have said that too, except I played Doom on this thing, and
exactly. And people are like, "What sort of sorcery did Bethesda use to make Doom run on the Switch?"
Man,
but
that game.
I think that this direct is overwhelmingly cool. We got a new announcement in Celeste, which is really interesting. But also, like Corey alluded to, the shine is already starting to wear off, and it's been less than a day. I think and I just stand by my point. The ports don't need to stop, because I think Nintendo is doing the right thing by using Wii U ports and indies to fill the space between their tentpole releases. I mean, look, Hollow Knight, as far as we know, or at least as far as I know, and I've done some looking, is not coming anywhere else on console.
For now.
Yeah, not yet. But like if the first place I can get that on is on the Switch, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, am I excited that I'm going to be able to probably get Darkest Dungeon again to take it on the go because I don't have my Vita? Yes. I got Super Meat Boy too, so we know that. We already know that happened. So as long as it just doesn't become, hey, remember that game from PS3 you really liked? Remember that game from Xbox 360 you really liked?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't become like the main showcase, like Xbox and their Microsoft and their backwards compatibility. Oh, hey, guess this game's backwards compatible now because we have shit all for releases this year.
To your point, Matt. To your point, Matt, was anybody really asking for LA Noire to be ported?
Exactly. That's I
It was a cool piece of tech at the time, but like, really, was anybody asking for LA Noire anywhere?
Like
I'd like to play it on PS4.
like-
I've never played it.
LA Noire was interesting as all get out. Like it was, it reminded me of when I first played Mass Effect, where, you know, I saw my own actions sort of affecting everything in a way that I hadn't before. Would that sort of be bettered and perfected? Well, not necessarily perfected, but like it was bettered overwhelmingly by other games. But you know, and I think LA Noire is like a really interesting game that people who haven't played it should. But I don't necessarily say this is one of the essential games of this generation that you should play.
Yeah.
So
I think you really just played it because Dan Reichert from Giant Bomb is in that game.
yeah, but he was also in Infamous Second Son too.
Yeah.
I enjoyed beating his face in, although I like Dan. Dan's a good guy. He's a lovable weirdo.
Dude, can I just tell you before we get out of here how much I have like over the last like year and a half really just been falling in love with Giant Bomb content?
Mm-hmm. It's really good. It's really good. I don't know how they managed to keep it good, but man, it works.
It's so good. But yeah, I think
Giant Bomb, hire us. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, dude, let's be their little mini firecracker.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We could be Lil Bombs.
Yeah, bombs.
No.
Okay.
We'll get copyright infringement right off the bat.
Yeah, you're right. With that said, this has been NGR Radio B-Sides. You can follow us on Twitter at NGR Radio Podcast, and you can find NGR B-Sides on Thursdays at noon. Moose and Matt and Corey. Until next week, we love you.
Bananas on the flip.
Peace.